Hey everyone, welcome back to episode 7 of the Michael Boothby Show. Today is March 9th, I believe. I think it's March 9th, 2019. We'll go with that. I'm obviously super dressed up. I was out all day shoveling snow off of a roof. Very new experience. Hurt my hand a little bit, but I survived. So I think that's a great success. And my guest tonight, all I want to say is Heather Narwid, which is not your name. Why don't you tell everyone your name?
Heather Narwid.
Heather Narwid. And we're here in Heather's shop right now. And maybe if you want to tell the audience a little bit about your shop and what you do.
Yeah, Sideshow, vintage clothing, some modern stuff, and some redesigns for men and women here in Durango. And established a store in 2007 and moved to Durango in 2015.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Heather's stores, you can't see it, but there's so many cool clothes.
I know. You could do like a...
Oh yeah, let's do a quick... We'll do it, we're doing it live, so we can do a quick tour. Ooh, look at all of these clothes. They're so colorful. There's cool hats. Oh my gosh, there's are these like wizard hats?
Yeah, like gnome.
There's like gnome hats, and I don't even know what that is. It's like a, wow, vintage jackass hood.
Oh yeah, that's like
wow. It is amazing. So,
It is.
guys, this is so cool. There's so much stuff in here. Let me get set up. I just wanted to give you guys a quick tour. Eric's watching. Hey guys, if you're watching, press like, press love, press any of those buttons because it's going to help us get higher in the feed and get a little more visibility and more people can watch. So, yeah, so this is an eclectic shop. And have you collected like these kind of clothes like your whole life? Or
Since high school, college, just did it for myself and for friends. And then, yeah, didn't do it professionally, just did other things and did art for years and years, and then got back into it in the late 90s. And then ran a store in Flagstaff called In Cahoots that's still open. And then moved up here and moved to Dolores, a few towns away, and then opened in 2007. So just did it professionally, from the late 90s, and then decided to do this store.
Cool. Yeah, it's amazing. So I actually came in here earlier this week because I had to dress in business excellence for my training, and I came in here and Heather was like so nice, and I was like, I'm trying to be like a mix between Freddie Mercury and Johnny Depp, and she was like, right this way, and she helped me out. We made this amazing outfit, which is funny though, but I ended up getting called out in the meeting because I wasn't wearing a tie. And I was like, because they were like, it says tie and you didn't have it, and I had to like stand in front of everyone and tell them why.
They were like, that guy doesn't have a tie on.
I know, and I was like, but guys, did you see the rest of my outfit and how much like effort I put into
Look what
this?
I do have.
I know. Look what I do have. Let's look at the positives, not the negatives. But what can you do? I think that happens a lot in life. We tend to look at the negatives more than the positives.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's like a traditional like business attire item, I guess. But
Yeah.
I'm just kind of thinking out here it's so casual. I mean, it's sort of like career where I was kind of like, well, what do you mean by that? Like, what do you think that means?
Yeah, there's not really like the financial district of Durango. Not like there's in like Chicago or like New York or Wall Street.
Yeah, it depends. Like business excellence depends. Like, are you a graphic designer? That's going to look different than if you're like a dancer and being businessly excellent. Or,
Yeah,
if you're like a banker doing your whatever. Excellent banker shit.
Yeah, I think there's, I think excellence shows up in so many different ways, and that's kind of what I was trying to bring to the group. And that's like even one of my friends from the training was like, Michael, like don't just go and get a suit, like make it your own. And she was the one who suggested that. And then I had another friend who'd come here and she was like, you got to go there. It's like the coolest store. And I was like, I'm there, and so.
Because here we want it to be like, help you fulfill like what your style is. There's like so many styles here, and they can be interpreted so many ways. Somebody can come in and just be like a weird mix of celebrities, or just like somebody but in the 20s in Russia, and then like can kind of get your feels for that. So it's just like everything could be like tailored to what what you want and like what you're communicating.
I think that's so cool too, and I don't know. Growing up, I felt like I never really had like much fashion, and even now I'm like, it's like I wear jeans and like flannel, but
traditional's fine. Just keeping it classic.
Yeah, but it's like even like coming here though, and even just talking to you, I was like so inspired. I'm like, and even like all these clothes, it's like why because people spend so much money going to these stores and like name brands and buying clothes, and it's like there's so many clothes that are out there and like already made and really nice, and it's like. And you can get it for a lot cheaper than if you're like spending $100 on a shirt from some.
And the quality's like so beyond, so far beyond. You'll get like couture things like in a vintage store, like a handmade thing, or just like perfectly made and designed. And fabric, like basic fabrics used in vintage, 40s, 50s, 60s are like the super most high quality, things that they would want to charge extra for now, or so it's definitely better quality for the money.
Yeah, it's something one of my inspirations, Terrence McKenna always talked about. He was like, why are we buying like all these new cars and furniture? It's like, well, there's so much already in the world.
Yeah.
And it's like, we kind of have this, consumer culture. It's just like, well, you need the next best thing, the next iPhone. And it's like, when we treat clothes that way. And it's like, it's like, these are clothes, It's like, and probably most of these clothes that are being made now and sold are like made in these sweatshops, and like China. And it's like, do we really want to be supporting that?
No, we don't. Unethically made, by people who shouldn't be like having to work just yet, and in, like bad conditions and everything, and just unsafe. The textile industry is really bad, like clothing manufacturing and dyeing, and it's just like a lot of waste. Takes a lot of water. Too, and it's just like pretty gnarly. So it's definitely better. Like it really is part of recycling. Is like trying to buy as many used things as you can, and like. Even just other objects too, like wearable stuff and, household items and things like that. And,
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I think my girlfriend Sasha's watching right now. Hey, Sasha. But yeah, we, in Chicago, there's an amazing place called Brown Elephant. And they're like a thrift store, but there's like 3 locations around the city. And they always have like amazing clothes. Amazing furniture too. Like we got this couch and it was like priced at $700, and we were like, "Well, can we get this couch?" And like also these 2 chairs, and they were like, "Sure." And they're like, "How does $350 sound?" We're like, "Amazing,"
It's like half of $700.
Yeah, right. We're like, and they threw in all this other stuff because they get so many donations that they don't mind. And the cool thing is that they take all of all their money goes towards Howard Brown Health. Which is like an LGBTQ like clinic in Chicago. Nice. So it's like I get amazing furniture, it's cheap, and then all my money is going towards like a good cause. So I'm like,
sure. Yeah, all those charitable thrifts are great. Like every horrible thing that could happen, can from like just diseases to just all kinds of other medical issues and stuff. Like there's all kinds of awesome thrifts that go for animals and you're leaning in.
Yeah, Sasha's. I was trying to read. Sasha says, "Love your shirt." It's actually a dress, Sasha. But
it is.
Yeah. But it's lovely. Yeah.
50s.
And Sasha's gonna be here in April, and I told her, I'm like, I gotta take you to the store because she's gonna absolutely love it.
Yeah. There's tons of like Chicago peeps over here too.
Yeah. What's the deal with that?
There's my friend Chris and Steph. They came over from Chicago. He's got a great psych rock show on
cool.
KDUR, our local radio station. That's amazing. Right. And then my fella's from Kankakee.
Okay.
Which is like the dirty south of Chicago, and we love going there. And there's other. Who else? There's like, just you'll hear that accent like bust out like once in a while, And out here, there's definitely a lot of like East Coasters and like
interesting
big city Midwestern.
Yeah. So I read in your bio that you went to college at Virginia Commonwealth University, which is cool because actually both my sisters live in Richmond, and one of them actually works at VCU.
Oh, cool, yeah.
But so were you from Virginia originally?
No, from New Jersey.
From New Jersey.
And then went to VCU. Like loads of like New York, New Jersey people.
Why? What's it about VCU?
It was the closest, cheapest school. Like if you wanted to get the F out of New Jersey, like I did. Like half the people like still live on the same block that they did when we were in high school, and then half fled. But it was just they had a great art school, and it was cheap, and it was still pretty close to like I still have family on the East Coast and stuff. But
cool.
It was super cool, like Mid-Atlantic. It wasn't like deep south.
Yeah.
You know, but it was just sort of like mid-Atlantic. DC was fun at that time in the late 90s.
Cool.
There was like good clubs and like good music and stuff happening there, and Richmond too.
Yeah, and I go to Richmond usually like a few times a year to visit my sisters or for holidays, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
it's like this smaller town, again, southern, but it's like not too southern, but they have like some really cool neighborhoods and restaurants,
really good restaurants,
businesses.
She probably had been to Avalon. I worked at for a long time and opened that place, and it just closed. But it's next to the Bamboo, which I think is still open at Mulberry Street.
Yeah.
And Avalon was fun. But yeah, it's a fun place to like wait tables and bartend. And at that time too, this was a very long time ago.
yeah. So you're from New Jersey and you went to Richmond. And then did you like move out west? You're like, okay, I've done the East Coast.
Yeah, I just was like getting bored and just wanted to leave and wanted to be outside more and just was like, I'm just gonna like put the dogs in the car and go and do a camping circle thing and like did that and then kind of ran out of money around Flagstaff.
You're like, I guess I'll live here now.
Yeah, and I like got a job right away. I was like, okay, I'll just be here for a bit. And then I stayed there and it was fun. It was like super fun western town, just small and just like mountains right there, and
cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It's fun living there, and then worked at the vintage store.
Okay.
And worked there for like 5-6 years or so, and
wow.
Yeah, did costume rentals too, and so that was fun doing like the costume design. And she had a really cool collection. It still does mostly vintage costumes, and the new stuff that got supplemented in.
Okay.
But yeah, super fun. Everything was different. It would be like everyone would have a choice of what to have, and it'd be like weird vintage things with modern things. It wasn't just like, oh, here's your hanger of like bad costume,
Yeah.
So that was really fun.
That's
and
so cool.
Working with the vintage too, and I learned a lot from her, Nancy. She still owns it. She's awesome.
Yeah, let's go into that, because I'm like, it's like what are the skills it takes to run a successful vintage store? Because I imagine you have to find all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And how do you go about that?
I don't know. I just wake up and come in, and it's all.
And it's all here. It's like magic.
It's all hung up, clean.
Yeah.
All the buttons are there.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, it's just like beating the bushes and having people coming to me, and then going to other places, other states, different kinds of sales, like auctions or estate sales.
Cool.
Thrifts and stuff, and then people bring stuff too. I've had good luck with people bringing stuff in, and then like buying estates, like from family members and stuff, like bunch of boxes, and like stuff from all over the state. So
yeah,
it's hard though.
Hey Christina, thanks for tuning in. I'm here with my friend Heather, who runs an amazing vintage shop here in Durango, Colorado. And right now she's just talking about kind of what the skills it takes to run a vintage shop and kind of how she's found success. So.
I'm glad it looks like I'm successful.
Yeah. So how would you define success?
I just was thinking about that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I guess if it doesn't feel like work and you're happy doing it and it's coming naturally and you're getting a good feedback is the main thing for people. Because you can't just be like, la la la, my business is this, that, and the other, and like proclaiming all these things you are. Which is like, pretentious, I guess, but it's just like if you're listening to what your customers are saying, and like you have customers and
you're
happy, exactly,
you're
come
in
back
business,
and they're sending their people and like doing that good exchange of energy. Where we're like, I mean, it's like a capitalist situation here. I'm not like, I'm not like just doing it for the love, but I am doing it for the love, but I think it's different from like grody, humongous corporate capitalism, and that it's just
you're like not on like the board of like Gucci or or like one of those like these people that
actually stole my design. Anyway, we'll get into that later.
So, Christina has a question. What is your customer? Yeah, I can barely with my glasses.
Tiny.
So we got two questions. Christina says, what does your customer base look like?
Awesome. They all look amazing.
I'm sure they really look amazing after shopping
fits
here.
Wonderfully and looks great. All ages, really, like teens, teen girls, high school girls, and boys through like your fashionable, like awesome stylish senior ladies in there. And who are like classics, or like a gent who's like, I need a cashmere sweater vest. It's not like such a hugely common thing maybe for like your age group or something, but the classics for people. But really, I would say like I mean, almost all ages too. Like you kind of size into this place when you're like a tween, maybe like extra small women's, but really all the ages. And I love that because it'll be like a granddaughter and a mom and then like the grandma all checking stuff out and like getting different feels from it, like nostalgia, or like the young girl will see like the 90s stuff and it's just super like a chic thing because that's happening now again. So it's cool to just like watch everybody's like the intergenerational, or the teen is like trying to pretend she doesn't love everything in here and like hiding it, and I'm like, it's cool, you can like this stuff even though your grandma likes it, you know, because your grandma's cool, this place is cool.
and just like following up with that, 'cause, you know, I think even as far as like growing your customer base, and I think I already know the answer, but I was asked, you know, like, how do you market it? Because I mean, the way I found about it was word of mouth. Someone was like, "You got to go to the store. They got the coolest clothes."
That's like the best.
And I imagine that's like probably. Do you get that a lot? People come in, like my friend or someone say, "I have to come here."
Yeah, especially with the dudes. Like the guy will come creeping in. He's like, "My friend told me to come in here. He said you had shirts here." And I'm like, "Come in and welcome.
Welcome.
Like, you can shop by yourself.
Welcome to the store."
Or guys together coming in. Like,
and
then they start going, "You would look good in this." And I'm like, "Oh,
that's
so
amazing.
cute."
That's so cute.
I love it. I'm just like totally trying to like support them.
Yeah,
help
like
them figure
please
out what
embrace
it
your
is.
feminine, please.
Or just like, you know, identifying like what they want to wear or what they like, and it's like, why do you like that, or the feel of it, which is cool. But that's like part of the successful thing, I think, is getting a lot of good people in. Always having that flow and always having, you know, new people and you know, everyone's getting fed back and forth, because I'm like learning stuff from my people all the time, like, checking out people's like street style and what they put together, or how the younger girls are like putting these things together and what they're referencing. I'm like, ooh, okay. And then the young men, like all this layer of vintage from like the 90s when I was in college is like happening now, and I'm all like
coming back.
And I'm like, oh, I gotta, you know, like clue into the wider frame of it now.
Yeah, I imagine to run a store like this, you kind of got to know what's trendy. Because I mean, even this, it's like, even to have the store, you have to be very well versed in the trends of the past.
I know. And then what's trendy now, because there's these really awesome labels that are like just super high fashion, but they're like looking like kind of that retro Victorian 70s with like floof and like big sleeves. Bathsheba is one, and then this one called The Vampire's Wife.
The Vampire's Wife.
And they look all just hella Stevie Nicks, like ditzy print, dark, but like covered, high neck and sleeves. It's like part of this sort of modesty movement that's happening. That's cool, because a lot of the stuff from 70s and 60s, it's like crew neck, maxi sleeves. It was just more covered, you know, like that was the style. But so it's kind of cool, because I look at high fashion and I'll look at like Vogue and stuff like that to see who is out there, and to also see how Gucci is copying my action, like my patches on streetwear I've been doing for like 12 years. Yeah. And I do them on these Western shirts and on other stuff too, like women's skirts and like sweaters that kind of end up looking like weird, like varsity weirdness. So then of course they pop up like with my wolves, and then they fucked up my source on them too, so I'm like, Gucci,
oh,
stuff.
Big clothes.
I know, topping my patch love. I've been doing
taking your style and like making it mainstream and giving you none of the credit.
I know. I'm like,
Gucci, if you're watching,
that is what's happening. High fashion, those houses are like looking at Instagram, looking at everyone's street style, and they're like, cop. Marc Jacobs is like, I just go to the thrift and buy a 70s denim jacket and take it apart and roll the pattern off it. It's like, just don't even pretend you're not. Yeah. You know, like, that's just pretty shameless, too.
Yeah, so, right.
I mean, I would feel that all that inspiration goes around for, like, redesigns for modern designers and vintage and stuff. There's only a certain number of shapes of clothing. Yeah. Really. There's like, somebody will bust out with some weird shape and it's like, nope, that's going to be on the sale rack in a minute because it's weird. That's why no one's done it, you know. So there's this classic shapes. There's not that much to work with, really, but that's why fit is super important, and like your quality and your colors being good and just like feeling comfortable in it. And, you know, that's why it's so important.
For me, 'cause I think I've always been more of a like comfort over style guy, which is why I was so amazed when I came in here, because like everything that you gave me in my outfit, I was like, I look so good, but also like these are some of the comfiest clothes I've ever worn in my life.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, comfort. It's not exclusive, you know. From it. I mean, you don't have to be like able to sleep like at any time in your life. Like if you're gonna have to go to a party, like put the thing on that, like, you know, like you don't have to be super comfortable all the time, but there's no reason to be like uncomfortable. Yeah. Because that's dumb. Like stuff from ago, like when people had to be too much with the other
like the
garments and
corset, right? Like I have to
everybody
look good
wants
for all of these men.
I know,
can't breathe. It's
I
like
know.
Jesus Christ.
It's all I got. It's like fuck that.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah.
And then here too, Durango is like God. I mean, seriously, getting dressed up is like I'm wearing underpants. But these
I can imagine it's like
these are my good
snowboarders, hikers.
sweats.
Yeah, it's like that very outdoorsy
Or like
vibe.
I'm just gonna wear these tree climbing boots with like short cutoffs and no shirt and like a downy.
I'm going
and
out.
A hat, like do it for a date.
Oh, that's so funny. I love
fight
that.
you guys sometimes.
I think we got Sasha asks, do you ever make up stories about the people that may have owned the clothing, or do you wonder about their lives? That's a great question.
Make up stories. That would be like
that'd be
good
fun.
writing inspo. I think like if someone was a writer, like go to a vintage store, like
I'm gonna keep
grok
that,
on that clothing and look at something and like that would be good inspiration for a writer or something. But
like a character
a lot of times
study,
I know what it is. Sometimes I bought this stuff that had like notes pinned on it and like where she wore it. I got one over there. It's like this lady, she wrote like where she wore the dress. It was like a boating thing in like 1938.
Yeah.
Lunch was served, like all these details that were really cool. And sometimes photos. I have a photo of her and her husband. And it was like some of his stuff too. So that was cool. Like, and then the daughter, that was like kind of a fraud buy because she opened the box.
Yeah.
And there was more than the daughter who thought was in it. She thought it was just these certain items, but it was like this other stuff. And she was getting like verklempt because it was just making memories. And then she, just really wanted the stuff to go and get worn and like have more life and like live on, and that's what that stuff can do. It's like imbued kind of with like your mojo. I guess. I don't know. So, and then sometimes stuff can be like a bad mojo too. Like I've come across certain like, at In Cahoots, there was like this military jacket floating around that I hated. And I was like, get it away. It just was weird. And I tried to dress on that. I got a super weird feeling from in a thrift store in Prescott Valley in Arizona. And it was like, it was a bad feeling. Like I had a weird feeling like that something bad had happened in it. And I just was like, hang it back up. So there's just things and some stuff's, it just depends. But it's kind of a blank slate too, because it's ready to go and like start a new life. So it's like they're being like reincarnated constantly. Like that book, sometimes it reminds me of Accordion Crimes, this book by Annie Proulx, and it's following an accordion throughout its life and who it ends up with. And it's an amazing story about like early America too, and immigrants and everything. And it's really cool, but it was just this shit that this instrument got into, It was just like some stuff you see like something real beat up or like a party dress that's like trashed, like ripped and like booze. And like, you're like, wow, like they were just partying out. Or like a suit where I'm like, this suit has been submerged. Like the suit went in a pool. Like why, like you can tell when something like has gotten totally soaked and just funny things, but like or weird stuff in the pocket. Like I found a bullet. Like
bullet?
Yeah, like bullets in the pocket. I found like empty like drug vial, and it was this dude's 70s jacket, and he was like, and I said, oh, did you check the pockets? And he went, oh no, and he reached in and he got all red. He goes, oh, I haven't worn this in a while.
Here's my heroin from the 70s. Like Jesus Christ.
But it was just funny stuff. Like suit pockets always have a lot of like funeral cards and stuff like that at a wedding or funeral, like a wedding thing or like a mass card or something. But because that's when dudes wear sport coats, I guess.
So Sasha said that would be really cool to include next to the tag. I think she means like the story of the clothes. I'd be drawn to buying clothing with stories, even if they are made up. I've never seen that in a clothing store. Sasha,
I'll exaggerate.
next level,
wrong.
right?
Like, I know she is.
So we're both improvisers, and like improvisational theater is like so popular in Chicago. I'm surprised there already isn't like an improvised story thrift shop, but
that's a funny thing.
Maybe
awesome. Like an improv crew could like do a show in a thrift or a vintage store. Do that here.
Yeah, I would love to.
And then it's like all about a thing, and maybe someone else out of the crew like has to pick out the item that's like an evocative piece.
Or then maybe they do a piece, and then there's a story, but then they also have to like wear it and embody like the character of the clothes. Ooh, look! I didn't expect this tonight. I didn't expect to come with like the coolest new improv show.
ass up in this place
Yeah.
continually. It's exhausting.
Yeah. Sasha says yes, and then she also said smudge the clothing, which is, I was gonna ask that as well because we were talking about the energy of the clothes. Like, do you ever do anything if you feel like if you really like a piece but you feel it kind of has some bad juju? Do you ever like smudge it or like do something with it?
No, I'll wash
Probably
it
should.
in the washing machine. That's the vintage clothing store version.
Yeah, right. Of smudging, it just goes
put that
in.
shit in the washer.
Goes around the cycle.
Oh, the laundry, right? Yeah, no, not really.
Put some like essential oils in the.
It's more about making stuff presentable. Like psychically, it's sort of as is. You know, like I think it's more like about keeping it clean, like making it clean for people, or like just making it presentable. If something's been stored or is dusty, something like that. But psychically, all of this stuff is just as is, and I think all this stuff's pretty happy.
Yeah.
Like. I don't think there's anything to, because I do think it's just, maybe it fades to, like, I don't know how long, I'm pretty empathic, but I wouldn't say I'm, like, psychic, but maybe somebody who has those kind of vibes, like, could know, like, how long it might take for something to, wear out, like the last
like
soul of it or something.
The
I
soul
don't know.
of the clothes.
Like, if it just sort of then it's in a little kind of a purgatory here, so to speak.
Just like waiting for its
that
next
level, just hanging out, recharging, letting go.
Sasha said you could do a cool Halloween show, dinner theater in the thrift shop.
Yeah, with improv people.
With improv people, that sounds like a great time. Even if someone was doing that in Chicago, I'd be like, I would go to that. But like Durango, they'd probably be like, improv, thrift?
Well,
what?
there's an improv, there's this Durango.comedy group, and then there's like, and then I think it's the same, there's like an improv group in Durango.
I need to meet them.
Yeah, no, you should hook it up. There's like some funny people, like
cool.
One woman I go on river trips with, and she's really super funny, and just always like boom boom with the one-liner.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it's fun. And and there's, what is that girl's name? There's a really funny comedian, I forget her name. Her last name is Wolf, but I forget her first name. But she's popping around, and they have like these like stand-up things around.
Yeah, that's cool.
Google around.
I went to an open mic the other night. It was like a music open mic, and I met this guy there who did stand-up. And I always think it's like so brave to be like one stand-up comedian at a music open mic, because it's like it's so hard to get laughs. But he just went up there and he was like going for it. It's really funny. Yeah. But then I ended up talking to him. I'm like, dude, you should move to Chicago. Like, there's like so much stand-up comedy. And he was like, you think so? I'm like, yeah, man. And he was like crying. He was like, oh my God. I was like, yeah, dude, I think you're great. I think you would have a lot of success. And he was like, no one's ever told me that.
Oh,
yeah.
That's so sweet.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I'm always, whenever I see someone like doing good work, I have to tell them.
Oh, yeah.
I want to compliment. I want to tell them, because we don't do that enough.
No, encouraging people, especially with like musicians and bands and stuff like that, and like people you think, oh, would they possibly care about my opinion? Like, I think that they probably do, and I am always the dork who's like, I love you. Excuse me.
I'm your biggest fan.
I know, like just such a super nerd.
Yeah.
But I think they appreciated it. Who cares? I mean, like, I hate that too cool for school. Like, or if you go to a show and you're just like started dancing, it's like, oh, no one else is dancing. Oh, great, it's one of these shows.
I'm always that guy though. I'm like, I don't care. I'll dance. It's like, guy, I feel like everyone else is weird. I'm like, guys, there's music. Like, don't you want to move your body and like celebrate being alive?
I know, totally. They're like, it's just doing like the head bob or something, or.
I have been there. Christina Frost says, average people are the largest consumers. Make the people happy. Yeah, it's not much. And this ties in beautifully, because part of our homework for next week is to read the Four Agreements, which I don't know if you've ever read that. The Four Agreements by, I think, Don Ruiz. Wonderful book. I mean, I at least so far, I listened to the audiobook in my car, and it was like I got to the first and second agreement, but the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. And it's just like, like, how do you live a good life? It's like, when you say you're going to do something, go and do it. Mm-hmm. But also, it's like, he talked about how, like, the power of your words. And, like, an example he used was, like, it was, this mother who came home from work. She was, like, really tired, had a migraine, and, like, her daughter was singing. And then, like, she was like, just had this migraine, and instead of being like, hey, excuse me, like, I have a migraine, can you be quiet? She was like, hey, can you shut up? Your voice sounds terrible. And, like, told this girl, and then he was like, and then this girl, like, she never sang again. And then also, like, didn't have any confidence, and, like, had all these problems in school, and, like, with making friends, and then, like, this whole thing, and it's like, and so, So for me, it's like
kids. I mean,
with
kids are so impressionable too. It's like you cannot.
But I always think about that. It's like, and he said, like words are magic, and it's like it can be black magic or it can be white magic, and it's like you can like that mom, like by saying that, like cast an awful spell on her daughter, and now she didn't want to express herself. So I now reading that, it confirmed everything about my life and what I'm doing. But it's like whenever I see greatness or whenever I see someone just really putting themselves out there, I tell them how great I think they are, because people don't do that enough, and that might just be like they might hear that, and that might be the one thing that just like keeps them going, and then maybe they're famous, or maybe they end up just living this life that's like really fulfilling.
Yeah, exactly. Just like you never know what a little push, like a little bump or like a little bit of encouragement, like somebody is going to need too. And that's just like basic integrity too. Is like act and move in a sincere way, which is like in accordance with your values and like what you believe and what is like, to be right, and just like, oh, you're seeing this thing, like this is marvelous, this performance is amazing. Like take that time, to like express that out and like, put it out there, you keep it in. It's just like, why?
Christina says, there are only a few things you can control. Your word is one of them.
Yeah.
I had a, who is it,
it's so hard though. I mean, like, just shit comes out because we're just like being stupid and emotional about stuff. But, it's just like good to just put other people first. And that's like a business principle service. Too.
Yeah, right?
Like, you're in service to others. It's like, people aren't here to like, it's just everyone needs to be there for other people, and it's like
we need community.
Yeah, exactly.
And especially, I mean, that's one of my favorite authors, Kurt Vonnegut. He always talked about that, and he was writing from like the 1960s all the way up like to the 90s, writing these novels, and I was like, that was like central theme of all of his books was like going forward. We have all this technology, and like, how do we do it? What's the way forward for humanity? It's like community. Even so far in one of his books, he's like everyone like has like. They take on like the same last name so anywhere they go, it's like they can be with like extended family. And it's like, what a crazy idea, but at the same time, I think we live in in a culture that's very like hyper individualized, and I would even argue it's on purpose, because when you don't have community and you are isolated, it's like now you need to buy things to like feel good,
right?
Or
and it makes the self like deceptively large when we're not. We're all like. Like in the best way, in the best way, like just like tiny little dudes all in it together, being like one organism, and then it's not just like I am the one, like if you get away from other people too. Well, I think it's just always this like expansion and contraction. Like for a while, everybody was super tight together, and you had all your extended people and like all these families, and that can draw up this other set of problems that I think people wanted to get away from and experience what like technology and modern life had to offer as far as like moving to a city, having transportation to go, we'll just go visit and not live together. But then now I think there's a lot of like the sandwich generation. I don't have kids, but people my age who have kids.
Is it the sandwich generation? What does that mean?
People my age who have kids and like kind of Xers, getting older Gen Xers. You have kids, but then you have elderly parents, and you're taking care of both at the same time, too. Yeah. So it's getting back to that, because older people are living to be a lot older because of healthcare. So you're going to have a lot of, and then there's everything being crazy with the economy and people's retirements, who knows? Yeah. Everybody's going to come back together, and I think it's great because you have that help and those trust of those people. Like if my mom was super close to us, but if I had kids, it would be rad because she would be right there.
And it's funny, I think, especially, you mentioned even like the economy, and it's like I feel like the economy. I don't even like using that word. The economy just like, what is it? Because let's call it what it is. It's like wage stagnation and greedy, like the 1%, not like having
just that system that was going on. Like when my grandparents were working and my granddads were working, it was like. It was just the symbiotic thing. Like the owners of RCA, where my granddad worked, needed his people like to make the vacuum tubes and all that stuff, and it was just had like your retirement, your pension, and your health.
Yeah, it's like you came and you worked, and it was like, and here's everything you get to live.
They would feel shame if they had were giving garbage to their employees, but now it's just this rise of the almighty me, and then the faceless corporation too. Which
and then even like the gig economy, where they're like, be your own boss, but it's like, well, I don't feel like a boss. You're paying me $15 an hour, and also I'm a 1099 contractor, and also I don't have like benefits. Like that, I think a boss gets like all of those things,
Yeah, it's just like a lot of
exploitation
and like that double speak. Too,
yeah. Look how great this is, and it's like really not that great. It's spent.
But it's okay too. Like I think people who are younger like you guys like have it bad because there's just like a lot of this like ambient noise telling you how it should be, and it's just not like you're not going to leave college and like immediately have like your super fulfilling, high paying, prestigious, amazing job. Like you're going to have to do your hustles and shit and like bartend and stuff for a while,
right,
while you're still dreaming about your thing. And it's like there's just always needs to be hustle involved, and it's not
you
like,
gotta work on your dreams, because otherwise it's like very easy to get caught up in the 9-to-5 or the gig economy, and then you become complacent, and then you end up blaming everything. And I know that because like I lived that last year. I was just blaming capitalism and this and that, and I was just blaming, and I wasn't doing the work. I wasn't doing any of the inner work required to get myself to that place where I'd even be open to kind of like where I am now, where it's like starting this dating coaching company and writing a book, like, or finally publishing this book about online dating that I've had written for 3 years, and like, you know, learning about internet marketing. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, like I don't even need a company. If I do all this work, I'm like, I can live a very good life and also help a lot of people doing what I love. And I think for me, like that's what success means for me, is like when you wake up every morning and you're excited. And you're excited because, like, I woke up so many times in my life and I gotta go to work. And I'm like, I'm at this job. Like, why am I even here? Why is anyone here? No one here wants to be here.
It's almost like better to do nothing. You know, there's this thing of like the do nothing movement, and I'm like,
loafing.
I'm kind of for it. Like, not even loafing. It's just almost like if you don't know what to do and you do something, you might be doing harm. You know, it's just sort of like it's okay just to like not do for a minute. You know, or like. I don't know. It's just some of these jobs that are out there. I'm just like, I don't think this is benefiting anything.
In fact, I think it's just like harming society.
I know.
You know?
It's just like maybe just don't do anything for a second. Like, or if you don't know, like just wait, and that's fine. Like, it doesn't have to be like, oh, these rapid fire decisions. It's like okay, just to be, like, stop the noise. I can't even imagine now, but it sounds super old. But like, not imagining like how to grow up with like social media. I was coming up in the 70s and the 80s mostly, and it was like. I mean, it was hard enough, so I don't like, this is way too much information, like way too many opinions, like way too many thoughts floating around there. And I was, because, you know, I don't know, it's just too much opinion, just too much out there. And it's like people like say, you know what I mean? It's just like saying too much, like, talk to your friend in person, you know? It's like, you don't have to like, people don't have to broadcast like every opinion or every thought. It's like a little more meaningful when it's, I think, like, you know, like developing those relationships in that community that's like in real life, you know, where it like counts, you know, too. And it's like, we can't get too distanced from everybody via like the technology thing, and like, you know, do things that are like real and have like a real world application, and that don't just go like poof if like the internet gets broken, or if like some like billionaire who hates America like buys Instagram and just shuts it down, which could like totally happen.
And what people, what do I do?
Exactly.
You know,
it's like you gotta, like,
I was using this for all my emotional support.
I mean, it's almost like you gotta like be a prepper, like a survival prepper, but
I
like
agree.
Against like technology and like the things of that nature that are like, they seem so real, but they're really not, because
really
what's the real thing is like you coming in and us having a connection and like feeling mutual needs and learning from, you know, like learning from each other, and like in a business environment, that's like as good as it can get, as if just everyone feels very satisfied like with the transaction, and the transaction is more than just like cash money or like a thing or a this
or a meme or something that's like easily shared, but like everyone's like, oh, I get it, but it doesn't inspire conversation or dialogue or connection. And there's a lot of that. It's like, I think a lot of social media has really almost like ramped up this like consumer society, and because now it's like you're literally consuming through a feed, and it's designed that way. It's designed to be addicting, and it's designed to kind of rob you of yourself, which is why I think I feel like a bit of a pioneer, you know, and I know I'm not the only one, but like even like doing this show, and like I really try to use social media, and I even talk about this in my book as far as like these online dating apps. I try to use them with intention, and because it really, the internet, all these apps, Facebook, it's like they're just tools. And you know, and you know, tools can be used to build civilizations or destroy them. Right. You know, it's like a nuclear bomb, and then like you know, or like a hammer, and
like,
you know,
think about what you're creating and doing, like in your dating thing. You want to create love, and, like a long-lasting, like a partnership, like two people. I mean, it's beautiful. I'm in a beautiful, loving relationship, and I'm like ecstatic about it, and it's amazing, and it's like such a good team. Like, oh my god, I'm like tearing up. It's like you're such a good. So that's I think that's a really beautiful like end game to what you're doing with
Yeah.
that. It's like you're using these tools for people to do in real life togetherness for life.
Yeah,
it's so important.
I
It's like
yeah.
I think that's the reason everyone is on the planet.
Right.
Is to like
is
love
to have
and be
love
loved,
and experience
period.
love and experience like the playground that is planet Earth. Because like I do believe that like we are souls, and it's like whether you believe in like interdimensional beings or extraterrestrials, it's like I feel like everyone comes to planet Earth, and like we're all here for a reason, and it's because like this might be the only place in like this, not just this universe, but like all the universes where like life can exist and happen in this way. And it's like that's when you really think about that, it's like wow, every interaction is so important, and it's so easy to get like caught in the trap of like, well, this and that, and like we get stuck in our egos. But like when you really look at the whole thing, it's so beautiful. Like the fact, like you created this beautiful shop with like all these colorful clothes, and it's like you completely manifested that just because of your love for clothes and style and ultimately people. You're like, I want people to look good because I want myself to look good, and you got to create this thing that's like where people can come and you get to help them express themselves, which is so beautiful.
It's great. Or people are like, I don't look good at anything, or just down, I have no style, and then they're like picking all this great stuff, and I'm like,
you
shut
do
up.
like shut the hell up.
Totally no, like, or these people who are like Leanne, I forget her name, who came in with that suit, but she just was like,
Leanne,
I don't know anything. I don't even know what size I am. I don't know what I want. I don't know what anything means.
Yeah.
Where am I? What is all this stuff? And I was like, great, go in the dressing room. And it was just through and all that stuff, and it was like so perfect. So I love like those blank slates.
It's so rewarding.
When people like say, I hate to shop, I'm like, yay, come here. I'll
Come,
just
I will show
out for
you.
Like,
Yeah.
don't touch anything. Just go in there. And then they love it because they're just like, I don't know, but that's just like how I'm attuned. Like, I don't know how to make music, but.
Oh, there's a conversation. So Sasha said, do you think the rise in interest for vintage clothing is reflective of people breaking away from advertising / realizing it's bullshit?
Yeah, I think it's like anti-consumer in a way. I don't want to just like purposely go for vintage and like go for something that's like, I really like this and it looks really good and it's totally not in fashion at the moment, and you don't give a shit because it looks good and people are like, damn, that looks cool. And it just is different, and you're not like in the sea of the samies.
The samies,
So, the normies.
The normies.
So I mean, I think it's great, and it's like just choosing like, no, I'm gonna choose to get this dude that was made like 60 years ago, and like,
I love that. I want to come back here and just like do my whole wardrobe with just like just clothes from here, because it's like you just stick out, you stand out, and you're like, whoa, like where is he from? I'm like, did I just walk out of my time machine? That's the first impression I really want people to have when they see me. Did he just walk out of a time machine? Where's he from?
Where is his time machine?
Let's find out. Sorry, Christina also said, building off of Sasha, or perhaps in a world of planned obsolescence, we realize that some things are worth keeping and worth revisiting. Man.
Yeah, definitely. I think like people are cluing in now that like this shit is garbage. They're making us buy trash, and it won't last for but a second. So it's this backlash of like the maker movement is that like, give me
tiny
a thing.
Houses.
Give me a thing that's like needle pointed it for 9 hours, because it's just you can feel it in that and the integrity of the piece, and it's not like just this quick ass garbage thing. So yeah, I think people are cluing in and they're mad. Like I think that they're pissed because it's a big bamboozle.
Yeah.
Is what it is too, is like, ooh, you need this, you want this.
And it's like no one even asked you.
It's always a thing. It's like whatever the opposite of what everybody else is doing is the cool thing. Like, it's still that way, and it's like people are super fooled into like, no, I
have to have this because
looking in a certain thing. Like the teen girls sometimes, do that or whatever, but you don't know because you're still figuring like out your identity and stuff. But.
And Sasha said, #down with the samies. I love that. And
but samies are okay. I mean, samey could be like jeans and a white tee every day of your life, and that's fine, but you just need to look really good and be like clean and perfectly fit and good quality and like the best you can afford, like for what you want to wear and stuff too. But like, I mean, I just think it's like people who just give up or don't acknowledge that like their style is a communication too. Your PJ pant out in the public is telling everybody you want to be asleep and like not amongst us. So that should not
And then
be on anybody.
Christina also said it. Full disclosure, my mother was a retail whiz who became a marketing VP, so I grew up in a household that sold things. At the core, advertising doesn't bother me. It's brought me to a lot of things I actually enjoy, but it also means I know the science behind it and I'm harder to fool.
That's good.
And that's the difference, because a lot of people don't.
Like when you know those marketing ploys, you know what they're doing in the wording. It's like what do they call it? Like dog whistle or whatever. Like it's like that trick to like make you think, and I think it's things like status or like luxury or just these things we want
these
for ourselves.
buzzwords, and we're like, wait a minute, do we even really want this?
This car commercial keeps saying, get back to nature, and it's like they make you want to feel that like you're going to do that if you buy that car, but that is up to you. Your ass is going to just stay in the city in your Toyota. You could go back to nature in it, but you will not choose to. It's just those things like fooling you, you know. It's like the double think and the double speak, and it's I think it's good to just discern, and that's back to like the words being important. Like words mean what they say, and it's like same thing as like any kind of weird abusive relationship where people are like doing that, like gaslighting is happening on a huge like governmental and like commercial level.
Oh
now,
the
it's
whole
terrifying.
It really is.
It's bad enough when it's like somebody doing it to another person, but it's like when it's like huge institutions doing it to huge like demographics of people, it's terrifying. I mean, I think people need to like keep it savvy out there, you know, people, like keep it discerning and keep it savvy.
People need to really think for themselves.
Don't get bamboozled.
Don't get bamboozled.
Super easy.
Don't get bamboozled.
And don't bamboozle yourself either. My people will come in and be like, I'm too fat to buy clothes, and I'm like, hey, and I'm like,
get that belief out your head.
Like, don't be mean to my customers, and they're like, what? And I'm like, don't be mean to my customer. It's like, you know, be nice like a friend to yourself. You don't say that shit to your friends. Like,
it's funny, that was in the chapter 1 of the 4 agreements as well. It was like, exactly. It's like, you know, you wouldn't tell your friend like, you suck, don't wear that. It's like, but yet we'll tell ourselves that in our head every day.
Mean. The meanest of the mean girls are like in ourselves.
Right here.
I know, it's so bad. Why?
I know. And
I do that. It's heartbreaking, and it's like I'll yell at some lady for doing that, and I'm just like, oh, Heather, you suck, you know. And I'm like, I'm doing it too. It's like the worst. I know, it's so bad. That's why it's like people just be nice.
Christina, Sasha Fox, let's go on a hike, do a show, and then I'll write about it on my blog. Christina and Sasha, you guys should definitely do a show.
Where are these people? Do they live in your
Well, Christina lives in Maryland, like D.C., and then Sasha's my girlfriend who lives in Chicago. But they've been having a whole conversation in the comments, and you guys
thanks for hanging tough, ladies.
Yeah, that's thanks for hanging in with us. You know, it's funny because I've done now. This is my 7th show, and my favorite ones have been the ones where like people, you know, even I did one the other day, and there was only like one person watching, but he was so into it and like asking these amazing questions, and I'd rather have that than like, you know, 20 people watching who are just like, you know, not even
That's what
engaged.
the internet will not tell you, is that quality is better than quantity.
Yes.
You hear me, people? That is what the internet will not tell you.
The secrets of the internet right here.
Quality is better than quantity.
Just
in all
like
in all things.
Yeah.
In all things, everything. Like, just everything. Booze, sex, clothing, likes. I mean, just like make them real. Like those shows, some of the best shows I've ever been to have been like, I mean, I'm sure maybe not for the musician, but it's like, you know, if you go to a dead show, like, I'm so glad I was there, like the 5 people that are seeing this amazing freaking band where there's no one there and they came so far, and it's like, oh my God, you know, and you gotta hope that band is like appreciating all those people and not just pissed, you know, there's definitely a band recently that my friend loved and went to see, and there was like 10 people, and the musicians stopped like at the halfway, and I was so sad because I'm like, oh, that sucks, because like all those people who did go, like she's still getting
Wait, they stopped playing?
Yeah.
See, I hate that shit.
I know,
like...
I was really disappointed. It made me feel a little lesser of her, because I'm like, come on, like these people drove like 5 hours to go see you at this weird venue, and like you can't just stop. You know? Like,
no, I agree.
It's just, but I mean, I could see it's so. Here's the thing too about being an artist and a creative. It's like, if you're not getting received, it's like tough. What you're putting out there, man, you put it out and you're putting it out and you're getting like nothing back. And I mean,
it's hard.
You got to get it maybe not from people though too. If you get it from God and stuff like that, it's better. But like,
give it to yourself.
It's just, I don't think we're powerful enough to be able to continually give it to ourselves. I think it's something else, or it's like your loved ones, or like the people who are receiving your shit, like your music, listening, your artists, people who are looking at your art or buying it, or like people who come in here and like love the shop, even if they don't buy anything, they're like leaving me with like a good vibe, and they're leaving going, well, I don't need anything today, or I didn't see anything, or I'm broke, but like they're leaving with like a little bit of this place, and they're like, woo, bringing it out there, and they're like leaving some zhuzh in here too, you know. It's like I forget where I was going with that. Sorry.
No, it's okay. No. I mean, no. I think you were talking about how hard it is to, as a creative, to be putting yourself out there and not getting anything back.
That's why you have a lot of amazing people who, you know.
Oh, so cool. We have a question because we also we're almost at an hour, so yeah.
Wow, that went quick.
Right? Yeah, it always does. So, hey Jay, welcome, man. Thanks for watching. Oh, hey Debbie, thanks for watching. Thanks, guys. We're at the end of the broadcast, and Sasha just asked a question: when did you find your style, and who influenced your taste?
Oh my God, so many weird things. Like, you guys. Okay, the short list is like the Muppets. I swear to God, like Janice from the Muppets, and like Carol Burnett, and like Debbie Harry, and Pat Benatar.
I see it. I see it all, though. Yeah, I think you succeeded.
I saw this Debbie Harry picture, and I'm like, I just wore that outfit. It was great. It was like just an old tee, and then these weird striped pants. But just pretty much like 80s love growing up. And then like my best friend Cindy is a huge style inspiration for me. She's an amazing painter. And artwork and like TV, like the colors in nature, like for other people, you know. And then I get to be like inspired for like other people too. So it's good. I can kind of like collect things that are just not for myself, but I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna put that on that guy. Or like musicians, like loads, like rock and roll, like all the way, like every musician ever. And like old movies and like psychedelia. Weirdness that don't exactly translate like into clothing, but I really don't wear that much stuff. Like I dressed up today, but honestly I wear like a vintage tee, a vintage cardigan, these pretty bad leggings that are like somewhat embarrassing but are awesome because I just, you know, just metabolism, like middle age, just like I'm getting a little fluffy, so I'm just trying to find my style that's comfy because I come here and I gotta do stuff, I gotta clean, you know, I gotta like do things. So I mean, I'm kind of being like a fashion owner that like almost kind of wears the same thing every day. Like some fashion designers, it's like jeans, a black blazer, and a black tee every day of their life. Or like Patti Smith, white tee, black jeans. You know, just super simple. So I'm kind of like trending towards that, you know. Just like a different combination of the same thing. Like a tight pant or a Levi and like a tee and a sweater. And I wear a lot of dresses in the summer. I got a bunch of killer like summer dresses too, but everything, it always is changing too, and depending on like how old you get, like you're gonna change, like your style's gonna change, and things are gonna be like, ooh, not so much that. And then you know what happens too when you get older, which is cool, is that you dress for like other people, and you dress when you're younger to get looked at. But now I'm just like, I want to dress to be like heard. Like I don't care if you see me, but if you hear my voice, you know, like because you get over 40 and it's like, you know, they're just glancing right on by. You know what I mean? Really, it's like that invisibility thing. You know, and it's just a human thing. It's just whatever, not that big a deal because I'm like concentrating on other things. Because when you're in like a relationship too, and you're just like, you just want to look wonderful for them and like all that stuff. But and for myself too. So, yeah, you just want to. Right now, I'm just like kind of want to more like be taken seriously and like listen to and like dress so that I'll, you know, be like understood and, you know, in here. But I also don't need to prove anything to anybody. Right. Like sometimes people will come in and I look kind of like shit, or they'll just be like, or I'm in like literally like lounging pajamas, but they're silk and cool, you know, but they're still PJs. But like, you know, they're looking for like some kind of like a pinup girl or like something that I'm not, you know, and I'm like, you know, like I don't have to like don a costume to like prove I am what I am and that I do what I do too. So because I'm like, this is my costume, I'm in it, you know. So I feel okay like if I'm like still looking quality but just sort of maybe like a little plainer. Like this vintage store owner I've known in Denver for 20 years, I've never seen her in anything other than overalls, like cuffed up overalls and Doc Martens and like some kind of a cute top, like every single time. She says, oh, you know, and that's just her jam, you know. And that's totally cool. Yeah. I think everyone just be comfortable in what you're in. And
I love what you said of just like dress to be heard. I love that. Because I mean, that's kind of something I talk about like in my book, you know, although it's like, you know, like online, like chapter 1's all about like how to write your online dating profile, and it's like I always say, it's like, you know, like this is your calling card. Like you don't get to choose your outfit in this app, but like this is your outfit. And it's like I found through my, like, you know, my research and years being on those apps, it's like a lot of people, it's like they're just putting shit out there, and it's like there's no intention behind it.
Yeah.
And that's like, because it's like that's the whole message of my book.
It's like thoughtfulness, because who wants like a non-thoughtful like mate or date?
No one wants
so it's
that.
like they'll just be like, oh, too cool for school. Like people don't want to be seen as taken seriously, because if you do, then that's like a vulnerability and you can get made fun of. But like, too bad. Like,
but see, it's like, and that's
if someone's being a dick.
That's
like
what I
that,
argue.
then,
It's
you know,
like
you have to do that and be a sincere friggin' person.
Yeah. Or if you show your weirdness, it's like, you're like, this is who I am and I'm weird. That other person out there is like, this is me and I'm weird. Like, now you have this perfect, weird, amazing
like
couple.
Because
we're all weird. Like, no one's normal.
Super,
and, you know,
I know. And
we're
if
all
they
such
act
weirdos.
normal, they're just like undercover creeps.
Sasha says, can't wait to visit and dress up. We're definitely going to come here. We'll have a great time.
It'll be super fun.
Oh, and then one final question before we end. Christina said, what was the moment when you realized this is what I want to do?
Sometimes it's like not that glamorous.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you move to a town of 900 people and there's like literally no other job that you can do. I mean, seriously, it's like a lot of times people are like, oh, the passion, like the passion's there, but a lot of times it's like kind of a necessity too. I mean, passion is like what you have when you don't have experience too. So it's like, I mean, I'm passionate about it, but it's just definitely more like
you fell into it.
It's just, yeah, kind of. And I mean, I knew how to do it, and there was a lack of it. But this town is 900 people, you guys. I'm serious. But I still did okay because I was adjacent to some bigger places, and to like, you know, Durango was, and like Telluride was there. People had to go through. So in the town itself was great. It was Dolores, and I loved it there. I miss a lot of stuff about it, but like not the greatest place to have a vintage clothing store. Like I did okay there, but my overhead was super low and I couldn't grow. So that's kind of why I happened there too, because it was low overhead and I could start and I didn't have to really be successful because it was like so cheap, that rent. So, you know, you just kind of like work with what you got, you know, where you are too. It's not like, oh, I can't open a vintage store unless I go to San Francisco. Like definitely the store is world class and I could plop it down right there. But I mean, of course it would be a billion more people, but a billion's more in rent, and then there's like people pooping on your doorstep and like being crazy, and like, I mean, seriously, they have like in their flower boxes, please don't poop in the flowers. Like seriously,
San
like
Francisco.
I could not. I love it. There's so much. I'm going soon, and I love it so much. I love all my bands there, and like I love it. But I'm like, I could never live there, and I eat my heart out because I'll go to a vintage store. I'm like, oh my god, like look what they can get for this piece or something. But like, what are you gonna do? Like, you can't live everywhere. Like, I love it here. Like, this is where like my soul's at peace here, and I can be outside, and it's safe. Like, safe in the way like there's just not that lot of people around. Like,
you don't have to lock your doors here.
Yeah, not like I'm afraid of getting mugged, because I lived in the city and I was like a tough girl, and I like would go around at night and I was like by myself. I knew all the things. I can defend myself and stuff too, and I definitely don't get complacent here or anything, but I'd rather be more afraid of like weather and wild animals than other humans.
I feel that
too. And then when there's too many human, it's like like I don't like
New York City.
Stay back, everybody. Like, you know, and I like to get it, but it's exhausting too. Like drain. So like. This kind of place is good, so don't be afraid of like opening some weird business or like a weird arts thing, like in a smaller place, or don't be afraid of like living in a smaller place. Like, you don't have to live in the city. Like, there's definitely some drawbacks. People like, you guys don't know. I've lived everywhere from tiny town, all over the country. Lived in Boston for a little while. Was adjacent to New York City, and we would go in and like go to the city on the bus and stuff, like all through the 80s, and like, you know, so like. I'm definitely like have some city feels, but like, it's just, you can do what you want to do wherever you are. I think, don't think like, I gotta be somewhere super cool, or like, you know, people need like what you have to offer, like wherever you are, and maybe, you know, smaller places like need it more even. You know?
I think that's such a great message to end on. You know, you can do whatever you want wherever you want
with what you have.
With what
like
you have.
Start the business with what you have, your knowledge, or like. Your passion if you don't have a lot of experience yet. Also, too, that's like, don't put too much of that on your resumes, young people, because it doesn't sound like you know what you do. You know what I mean? Like, just ease up on that word. But it just get a little trite or whatever, you know. But just like you just do it with where you're at. You don't have to be anywhere special, or like, oh, wait to lose the weight to get the clothing, or to, you know, whatever. Like, wait to do stuff. It's just like deal with yourself, like where you are, because everyone's always like morphing and changing anyway, so you're not gonna like be like, oh, this is the pinnacle, this moment, I can identify it while I'm in it, this is it. Like, you know, it's not ever gonna be that way. It's just like peaks and troughs, and you know, depending on what's going on.
Yeah. Christina Frost, do what you can with what you have, wherever you are.
It's like the
that's
simplest
the message.
thing, and we like lie to ourselves, and we're like, no, it's so much more complicated than that. It has to be really hard.
That's such a beautiful. I just think that's such a beautiful message, and I'm going to say one more.
Good thing it's all your people watching. I got no peeps.
Oh
watching.
no, it's
Unless
okay.
Like, I mean, can people like hide out and lurk and watch and not be like?
I don't know. I don't know yet. Maybe.
Can there be? Are there lurkers?
Are there lurkers?
Anyone who's
Secret lurkers. Now's the time to announce yourself.
Welcome.
But yeah, one more time. Do what you
My people
can.
hear me talk enough. They can't even get out of here. They're like, gotta go, bye, and they're like running out the door, and I'm like, but wait, one more conversational point. Come back.
Come back.
I know, seriously. And like, I know I do this, people. If any of my customers are watching, I know I do it, and I'm powerless to stop. So thanks for being merciful about it.
Yeah.
Just run. Just don't stop. I'll stop talking when you leave.
Don't stop. Do what you can with what you have, wherever you are. Cool. And do you have anything else you want to plug?
My store, come and buy a ton of shit.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, or not tomorrow.
And the name of your store one more time.
Sideshow Emporium, and
Durango,
Colorado. Tuesday through Saturday. We're open, and there's online presence too. There's on your Instagram. It's Sideshow 411 Vintage, and then on Facebook you can find it that way too. More on the Instagram, you can like buy stuff off the gram, and then there's the Etsy store. Like there's an Etsy store link off the Instagram too. So loading back up like the online store.
Yeah.
As well as dealing with the real life peeps.
Yeah, and definitely after this. So, guys, also I'm obviously on Facebook Live now, but I'm uploading all my episodes onto YouTube. So if you go on YouTube, type in the Michael Boothby Show, you'll find my channel. All of these, I'm still working on uploading the episodes, but they'll all be there. So maybe also after you can send me some links to your social media, and I can put on the YouTube. Because I'm sure as I grow, people are gonna go back and check out the episodes, and I want even the people who I'm interviewing, I want you to be discovered as well.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
there's an old ass Sideshow clip on YouTube from like 2007. Where this killer band called the Discotays, and they're like a queer duo from the Res, these native kids, and they were so awesome, and they played this song called Goon on our patio at the old Sideshow in Dolores. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Forever ago. I was so skinny. It was like 8 years ago. But that's the only thing on YouTube. I know.
You know what's funny too? Actually, before we end, when I went to fire up my YouTube channel to repurpose it for the Michael Boothby Show, I found like if you go to it after this and you check it out, there's like I made a playlist because all these videos were there, and I called it like embarrassing videos from high school. Because like me and my friends, we made these like really weird videos, and like a part of me was like, oh, this is gonna be my business, you know, this show is gonna be really big. I should take these down. I'm like, I don't want to, because it's like people see this and like this is where I started, like in these really silly, awful videos with my my best friends, and I'm like,
think that's good.
We'll have it there, you know. Who knows? Yeah.
Not everyone was like born being fucking cool. You know what I mean? And like seriously, like oh no, all of a sudden, like leave up all your dorky, stupid posts. Like who cares? Like
who cares?
There's gonna be so much shit on there. It's gonna change. Like when you guys are old people, people are gonna be like, look, Michael Boothby, you were 16 and a half when you said this, like on Vine or whatever.
Yeah, right. That's me so
and
funny.
And it's gonna be like everyone is gonna be inundated. It's gonna reach a point where everyone's freaking out about all this crap everybody did online, and then no one is gonna be able to care anymore because there's so much stuff. So I think you should leave it on there.
I'm going to.
That like super polish. People are gonna meet you in real life and know you're not like some Instagram like star. You know what I mean? It's just like everyone is just like a little dirty weirdo in real life anyway. No one's all that perfect, like you know what I'm talking about. Like all that pretentious nonsense.
It's so true.
Stupid.
God, there's so many amazing notes that we're ending on.
When you get old, it's so much better.
just keep living.
The fuck jar is empty, and you're just like, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? You're gonna live. You're gonna live your life. You're gonna live your life how you always wanted to live your life.
No one is watching you. No one cares. Just do whatever.
Oh, cool.
Oh, 90s kid.
Christina says, but wait, I'm a 90s kid. Are you telling me I'm not inherently cool?
Let's see. How do I answer that? No. You're the coolest.
Nah, Sasha says, nah, we cool. I'll agree. I think we're pretty cool. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to episode 7 of the Michael Boothby Show. If you want to check out my embarrassing videos, like and subscribe to, yeah, please do. And then text me. Tell me what you think. They're ridiculous. But like and subscribe to the Michael Boothby Show channel on YouTube. This video is going to be on my personal Facebook page. I might post it to the Michael Boothby Show on Facebook. I think I'm going to lean more into YouTube now. But whatever. Heather, thank you so much for coming on. This has been so much fun.
Yeah, it has been fun. Thank you.
No worries.
It's always great to just sit and talk and get inspiration and talk to your phone.
Talk to your phone and talk to the world.
And talk to all you cats out there.
Yeah.
It was fun talking to you guys. We'll see you later.
Sweet. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll be back Monday with episode 8. I don't know who it is off the top of my head. I'll check and I'll make a poster, and I'll see you guys there.